Hey everyone, this is Rajaran, and I'll be your host for this part of the session that is brought to you by Programming Society in collaboration with GDSC IIIT-Bh. So I'll be your host for this part of the session that is version control system. So let's talk about a version control system in its simplest form. Let's say that I create a new code file and I write a few lines in it. Now I decided to put it under a version control system using Git. And let's say that I call this file my project. Now this is my first version. So later on, as I progress, I write maybe a few more lines of code. And at this point, I decide to make some changes, and I call this final project. I can add some more features and make it final projects with new features. And in this way, I can have a series of files or folders. So further down the line, I accidentally screw up my entire code, and it's irreparable. And I get to the point where I would rather burn my entire code file rather than having to try and fix it. We do get into these situations, and sometimes we can screw up in a way where all hope seems lost, and we just simply want to roll back to the last save point. I can do that using Git. So I can just simply roll back to a previous version, and it does not have to be the one that was immediately previous. I can go back to my project to see the original code using Git. I can go as far back or as far forward as I like, and as I know which version I want. It almost seems like having a time machine, right? Now let's hop into a practical example and see how it works. So let's say I have this folder called repo, and I want to track changes in this folder. So I already have opened it in my VS Code, as you can see right here. So all I have to do is right-click and Git bash here. I hope you all have, at this point, all have installed Git bash here. So we'll just Git bash here and there. Now, the first step that we have to do is git init. What is this command? What this simply does? So what it simply does is initializes Git in this directory. It simply tells that we want to start tracking changes in all the files in this repository. So we'll just say git init, and as I press enter, you can see initialized empty Git repository. And now, if you check the status with this simple command called git status, you can see it says untracked files hello.cpp. By the way, git status is just a simple command to check whatever's happening in the repo you initialized, whatever happening. So you can see it says untracked files hello.cpp in red. So what does this actually mean? It actually means that we have initialized Git, but we still haven't started tracking those changes. So you can see, let's just try to add some lines of code here. Let's say I write first version, and I save those changes. Now if you check Git status again, you can see untracked files hello.cpp. So Git has initialized here. It has started to track changes in this particular directory. So what to do now? We have made all our changes. What's the next step? You see Git very helpfully tells us what to do next. It says nothing to added to commit to untracked files. So all you have to do is press this command called git add and file name, as you can see right here. So what is this git add? This git add says to track all the changes in this particular file. That's all we do. We're just tracking all the changes in this particular file. So as you can see, if I press enter, nothing happens. Now, if you check git status, you can see changes to be committed. It now says new file hello.cpp in green. Now, what does that mean? This means Git has successfully tracked all those changes in our files in this particular file. And now it says changes to be committed. Now, what does committing a change actually means? So you can think of it as playing a game. We play games, we progress through levels, and as we go clear levels, we save our changes, we save our progress on checkpoints, so that we can later return to those checkpoints and play the game from there again. So that's exactly what this committing the changes means. So that's our next step, that is committing the changes onto a checkpoint, creating a checkpoint, so we can later hop in back to that version of the code. So this will be our next command. We can say git commit -m. I hope you guys are following me. So what this m is simply a flag, which means message. We can attach a message to our commit, so we can later identify this commit and go back to our previous version. So let's see how a message can be attached. The message is attached in double quotes, like this. You can write anything, any relevant message that helps us able to identify this commit. For example, I can write first commit, and now if I press enter, you can see one file changed. And now if you press status, you can see nothing to commit. That means we have successfully created a checkpoint. We have successfully saved our changes in this file. Click on. So now, what happens if I want to, add more changes? Like, for example, I want to say this as version 2, and when I add another line, say, let's see, second version, and save the changes. Now, what happens if you git status to see what's happening? Let's see git status, what's happening. See, it says modified, changes not staged for commit. This means we have recently modified these changes, and we have not told Git to track Git to save these changes. So that's going to be our next step. We simply have to type the same commands again. We'll say git add to track the changes dot. This dot simply means to track changes in all the files present in this particular directory. So this dot simply means that. You can just press enter, and there. Now if you check git status, it says modified, and it's in green. That means it has successfully tracked changes in this particular file. So our next step would be to commit those changes. See, Git actually really wisely helps us to predict our next steps. So we can simply just write git commit to create a checkpoint to save all our changes. And we can say, let's see, second commit. Say changes saved. And if you check the status for this command, git status, you see nothing to commit. Clean. Cool. We have saved the changes. We have created a second version of our file. Now, remember I said that we can hop back into the previous versions of our file and see the previous codes? We're going to do that right now. So what do we have to simply do is to first see what all those checkpoints were. And for that, we have this simple command called git log. This simply tells us, this simply just lets us check all the commits that we have done till now to see all the checkpoints, basically. So now if I press enter, you can see the first commit right here. We have the commits hash, which is very important because it is like the identity of that checkpoint. We have the author, the email, the date and time it was created. So it tells us everything that we want to know. So these were our 2 checkpoints that we saved. So we can later hop right back into there. So how do we do that? How do we hop right back into the first version? Simply, you can just copy this hash and you can type git checkout and simply paste it. So watch what happens right here on the left-hand side. Watch what happens to these two lines as soon as I press enter here. Boom. You can see first version. We return to our previous version of the code. Simply with a single command. And we can hop right back into our recent version with the same command, git checkout master. Well, you don't have to worry about this master right now. It'll be discussed in the later part of the section. So you just have to pay attention to this command, git checkout. That's how we're gonna hop, travel right between. We can switch between checkpoints. So as soon as I press enter, watch what happens to the left side of the screen. I pressed enter, and there you go. We retrieve our code back. So nice. This is basically how version control system works. It tracks changes. It simply just tracks all those changes. So you don't have to make all these separate folders like this, like we used to. So you can, with the help of Git, you can just track all those changes. So you can later hop right back into previous versions and go back to next versions. Okay, so this is all how Git works. I hope you guys followed right here. For reference, we have this basic Git commands. You can see all those Git commands we used here, and we can probably take a screenshot so you can remember all this. Cool. So let's see. Any questions? Nope. All right. So if you guys have any questions, please type those in the chat, or otherwise we can move to our next part of the session, that is heads and commit. And for that, I invite Piyush Mishra.
Yeah, so thank you, Raj. Now we come to the next important concept of version control system, that is branches. 1 second, let me present my screen. Yeah, is the screen visible?
Yeah. It's it. It's
okay. Okay, so branches and head. जब ब्रांच की नाम सुनते हो तब दिमाग में क्या आता है कि एक ट्री which has lots of branches. If one branch breaks, अगर एक ब्रांच टूट जाता है तो मेन ट्री पर कुछ फर्क पड़ता है क्या? कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Basically, branches in a version control system work just like that. Branching means that you diverge from the main line of development and continue to do work without messing up the main line. So in version control system or in Git, we usually call the main line of development the master branch. Okay, the main branch is usually called the master branch. So when we make a branch, a Git project, yes, a Git project can have many branches. Okay, it can have more than one branch. So these branches are basically pointers to a snapshot of your changes. So what this means is basically how Raj explained that you can create a checkpoint or a save point. These branches are the save points that you can come back to a later version, from a later version, and these can work without affecting the master branch. जो जब तुम एक नया फीचर ऐड करना चाहते हो और एक बग फिक्स करना चाहते हो और तुम नहीं चाहते कि मेन ब्रांच में कुछ इस पे असर पड़े, तो तुम क्या करना कि एक तो नया ब्रांच क्रिएट करके उसमें तुम फीचर्स ऐड करते जाना. तो जब तुम्हारा वो फाइनलाइज हो गया तो तुम वो मेन ब्रांच के साथ अपने ब्रांच को मर्ज कर सकते हो. So it is more complex. It is complex to merge the unstable code with the main code. अगर कोड अनस्टेबल हुआ तुम्हारा एक नए ब्रांच में तो तुम उसे तो मर्ज नहीं करोगे क्योंकि मेन ब्रांच पे तुम्हारा वर्किंग कोड है. तो इसलिए हम ब्रांच क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. अगर तुम्हारे एक ब्रांच में कुछ मिस्टेक हो गया तो तुम पीछे जा सकते हो या उस ब्रांच को टोटल इग्नोर कर सकते हो, फिर से एक नया ब्रांच बना के वहां पे कर सकते हो. So this also facilitates you to clean up your future history before merging with the main branch. A repository or basically a project can contain many branches. The main branch is usually called master and head. Head refers to the most recent commit on a branch. तो जैसे कि राज ने दिखाया तुम commit कर रहे हो एक तो save point बना रहे हो. These are one commits. First commit, second, third, fourth, fifth. This is another branch. This is branch one made from master, and this is another branch. Okay, branch two that is also made from master from this commit, and this branch is made from after this commit. So you are committing on this branch one. Okay, commit one, commit two on the branch one. This does not affect our master branch or the main line of the project, main branch of the project. Similarly, this branch also, all the commits done on this branch don't affect this one. If you have any code that is not working on this branch, so you can just ignore this. You can come back to the master branch, again branch from this point and do your changes. So what is the importance basically? Git branches come to the rescue at many different places during the development. As mentioned above, branches create another line of development that is entirely different or isolated from the main branch or stable branch. ठीक है, now हम इसको visualize करके देख सकते हैं. Okay, for example, this is a local repository or a local project you have on your local machine. Okay, head master means we are on the master branch and the most recent commit head, that is this one. We have only one commit and that is the head because it is the most recent commit on the master branch. So let's add another commit. Git commit, and for the message we can write second commit. See, that was the first commit that was previously there. Now we have a second commit and the head transfers to this commit because this becomes the most recent commit on the master branch. Let's just add 2-3 more commits. Okay, so branch कैसे बना सकते हो? ये एक तो git command है, git branch. This just shows you, okay, sorry, git branch. Git branch. Okay, so it gives you a list of the branches and shows you on which branch you are working on. So you see the star, that means you are working on the master branch. Git branch, we have only one branch. So to create another branch, we can use the same command that we used to come back to a previous commit, that is a git checkout. And B, this is another flag. That means to create a new branch and instantly shift on that branch. So we can name our branch F1 for feature one. Okay, so we are on the F1 branch and that is the head. So now if we type the command git branch, you can see that there are two branches, master and F1. And now we are currently on the F1 branch. So when we add a commit on the, okay, so git commit, this automatically adds the commit to the branch that you are working on. Okay. So one C1, F1 का commit one. F1 C1 यहाँ पे आ गया, ये हमारा head होगा क्योंकि ये हो गया हमारा most recent commit on feature branch. Let's just add another one commit. One C. Now, if you want to switch the master branch, we can just git checkout, that is used to switch branches, git checkout master. So we want to come to the master branch from the F1 branch. We are on the master branch. If we add a commit here, you can see in the figure how the figure changes. This is the main branch, okay, and this is the F1 branch that we created from this commit, from the fourth commit. Now, if we git branch, we can see that we are on the master branch, and there is a F1 branch, and we are on the master branch. Okay. Now, what about if you are adding a feature on the master branch and you do some mistakes due to which the whole code breaks. We did a commit one final and we find out that the whole code breaks. This does not work. So we want to go back to the previous branch. So what we do is we copy this hash of the commit, git check out, back to the previous commit on the F1 branch. This works, this commit works. So whatever we need, we add this to the commit. And now we want to merge it to the main branch because this branch is finalized. And this feature that we were trying to add, we have successfully added it. So what we do is we go back to the master branch and we will merge the two branches. Git merge F1. Okay, so master branch is now successfully merged with the F1 branch. Now if we use a command git branch, you can see that we are on the master and the F1 branch. We have successfully merged it. So basically you can use a checkout to create a new branch with this one. Okay, another branch, let's say F2. We have created another branch F2. You can use the checkout. Upon seeing the git log, you can see that first commit, second commit with all the hashes. So using the checkout command, we can first of all go back to any previous commits or any previous line of development. Also using the checkout branch, like we saw here, using the -b flag, we can create a new branch and instantly shift on that. Git checkout b upon. Okay. Also using the checkout branch, you can switch branches. Lastly. So basically, git checkout, and you will see how this helps in the development of a project. So now we come to GitHub. Okay, so what is GitHub? GitHub is an online application, okay, that provides you a visual interface for Git. It stores all your projects in the cloud, and that helps in contribution from other contributors to your project. So cloud storage for all your projects and codes. We call those projects that you upload on GitHub repositories. So you can also host your projects on GitHub. Okay, so it provides UI for every Git command, not every, most of the Git commands that you will see here. Now we come to the next part of the session, that is open source contribution. Open source software does what it says on the tin. The source code of a piece of software is kept open and free to download, modify, and incorporate into third-party projects, which helps to improve the software itself over time. So how do you contribute to an open source project? This is done through the method of creating issues, creating pull requests. So now Saurabh will show you how to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Piyush, for explaining and visualizing the branch in head so nicely. Let me present now. Can you stop presenting? Yeah. Just tell me is it visible or not when it comes to screen. Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So let's come to the one of the most important part of any open source program, and that is making a successful contribution. Okay, let's follow this workflow, and let's start from the very first step, that is initializing a repository. Okay. For initializing a repository, the very first step in an open source program contributors should do is that from a list of thousands or hundreds of repositories, you have to find one repository or maybe many others which you are interested in and you want to contribute to it. Okay, let's say that I have found this repository in an open source program, which is a repository which belongs to someone called Dark Salad. Okay. So you can find a repository by searching. If you want to work on React, if you want to work on something like other on JavaScript, on React, on Node.js, on Express, anything, you can search it by that, and you will get a repository which contains all that frameworks or language, anything. Okay. let's say that I want to contribute to this repository named stats preview card component main. Okay, so what are the steps should I follow then in open source program? Okay, let's imagine a case where that a group of people or someone is working on a project. Okay, and you want to if you find that project very interesting and you want to contribute that project, you want to make some changes or add something in that project to make that project more great. Okay, then what should we do? Would you do like this? Like you would make the changes or add something in the project and just go to that stranger group or strange person who made that project and say that please add this in your project. Will you do this like that? No, of course not. So for that, in a repository or an open source program, what we do is we create issues. We create issues because say that to propose our changes, like we want some change in that project, or there is something error in the project, we want to change that. So how to propose the owner or the mentor of that repository? We create if we find any issues which issues in the code or something issues which should be added in that, we just propose that change to that owner from issues. Okay, usually what happens in a open source program or in a big repository is that there are hundreds or even thousands of issues already, and some are closed, some are open to all, and some are assigned. Okay, so after the first step, that is finding a repository of your interest, then what you should do is go to the issues and find a issue which suits you. Like there can be many issues which some issue can be of the state is not working in the React, or something the CSS file is not working here, or something like this tag is not working. Many things. It can be a syntax error, it can be a functional error, it can be a bug, it can be a documentation error, anything. So second step is find a issue of your interest which you can work on. Okay, let's say these are two issues in this repository, but I think I'm not interested in both. Okay, we can see the code. So how to find an error in the code, or how to know that I want to just contribute to this repository? For that, you have to check this repository out in your local machine. Now that's again third step is how to copy this repository in your local machine. The first step is just fork it from here. Okay, once I fork it, okay, now you can see that once I forked it, I have created a copy of the repository in my account. Okay, I have forked it from the main repository and I have created the copy in my repository. Sorry, my profile. Now I have to initialize this in my local machine. For that, I have to clone it. Cloning means just copying this repository as a folder in our local machine. For cloning, just copy the URL from here, HTTPS URL from here, just copy it and go to the folder where you want to just initialize this repository. Let's say I want to initialize this repository here. As Raj said in the beginning, to initialize anything in the repository, just double click here and go to the Git bash. Okay, now let's increase the font size. Okay, more. Okay, I want to initialize this repository here. So the command for cloning a repository in my local machine is just this git clone. Obvious clone is literally it means git clone and the URL which we copied from the repository, from our repository. Okay, just git clone and the URL, and I press enter, and in just 2-3 seconds it will just clone. Yes. Now you can see it was before empty, and now a folder has been created where all the files exist, which was in the my repository. Just remember that clone the repository from the fork branch from your profile, not from the main. Okay. Okay. Now I want to see that is there any change in that in this project which I can propose to the owner or the mentor. How to do that? Okay, let me open my code editor to see what changes or what can we do in this. I can open the VS Code just by this command code dot, if you remember. Okay, nice. So this is the repository as you saw here. Let me show it again. I'll show it. All the folders and files are here now in my local machine. Let's see the index.html. Okay. Now you can, the commands which I gave here, like the Raj, you saw the commands, showed the commands of Git initializing and adding. You can do this in the Git bash here in this window in the Git bash, or you can also give the commands in the terminal of the VS Code. There's no issue really. Let's just say for this purpose I am using Git bash for showing all of you. Let's close the non-terminal list. Okay. As Raj said, we have just copied, we have cloned the repository in our local repository, okay, on our local machine. Okay, but we have not initialized Git in the folder. So how to do that? There is just two words, Git and init. Okay, Git init, and the repository has been initialized. Okay, if you see now, let me. Okay. There was before. There's before no branch here, as you see in the right side. There is no branch here before initializing it, but after initializing it has been automatically moved to the default branch master. Master is the default branch, or sometimes it may be main, but whenever you initialize it, it will be in the master or the main. Okay. So I have successfully made initialized my repository, and we are still in the first step, that is initializing of repository. It is not yet complete. To contribute to this repository, as I first said, what we have to do is find any error or something which you want to contribute to this repository, like adding something, make it, if it is a website, making it, if it is not responsive, let's just make it responsive, or something else. Let's find something which is not shouldn't be here or should be here, and I want to edit. For that, let me open this code just in the browser, as it is an HTML file. Just let me open it in the browser. We will see if there is any issue or something. We'll solve it. Okay. Doesn't it look filthy? Yes, because it's just a HTML file, and I don't find any styling in this page. Okay, we have found our first issue. We can propose that change to our owner. Like we can propose the owner to have some styling in this, because it really looks very filthy. Only HTML. So now we have found the issue that we can add some styling to this project. So how to propose it now to the owner? Let's go to the GitHub repository, to the main repository, actually not in my profile, but the main repository of Salad, and just create an issue. Okay, if you in this case I found an issue and I want to create an issue, but it may be happen that you are interested in the issue, some issue which is open, you want to work in that. In that case, you may just open the issue and comment there that yes, I want to work there, work on this issue, and what will you do in that issue. Then if it is assigned, if the issue will be assigned to you by the owner, then you can of course go forward. So let's say I want to create the issue which I found that there is no styling in the project. So just give a brief title. I want to, what the issue is, I want to add styling to the project. Add styling. Okay. In a title, just give the as you like the subject of email, just give it briefly. But in the comment or the description, you have to write it. You have to explain it everything. What changes you want to do? Like what change? What is the error in the code, or what is the you want to add? Why you want to add? What will be the change before the change, before you give a pull request, and after that write everything in the comment, so that the owner or the mentor gets you clearly and assign the issue to you only. Let's say I want just because I want to add some styling, I say in the description, the project doesn't have any styling. Sorry, just spelling mistakes. Okay, and I want to add, just write it in an explanation way. I am writing it in a hurry. I want to add CSS styling project. Just write every point which you want to change or propose to the owner for this repository, and and clearly. Let's say I want to write only this in the comment. and it is clear that I want to add some styling in the project. It is clear from the comment. Let's create this issue from submit an issue. Okay, now new issue has been created. Okay, the next thing is like imagine that you propose a change to someone, but he doesn't want that change in his repository. It may happen, no? He doesn't want that change. He is happy that it is without styling, and he likes that only HTML. What happens then? So if he really wants to wants that change in the repository, then he will assign you. Okay, as I see now, Dark Salad has assigned me this issue to me. Okay, this means if the owner or the mentor is assigning this issue to the means who is making this issue, that means he is interested in that change, and he wants the issue to be solved by me. Okay, that what means assigned. So the mentor or the owners can assign you in the same day if the repository is active, or it may take some days. But just wait if it's still not assigned, because if you are working on a issue and not it has been assigned to you, then it may happen that he will never assign you, and you are just wasting your time just solving some error, which solving something which the owner doesn't want it to be. Okay, in my case, Dark Salad has assigned it to me, and now I'm ready to go with the second step and contributing to the repository. Okay. So our first step of initializing a repository and creating issues in the main repository has been done successfully. Let's come to the next step, that is creating the branch. Branch has been really well explained by Piyush. Let's create the branch in our local machine first. Okay. While making branches, I recommend everyone recommends that when you are working on an open source program, you can give branch any name, like you can give your name, you can anything. But in an open source program, if you are working, then you should give the name of the branch as the name of the issue or the number of the issue. Okay, let's see that the issue is add styling, and the number of the issue is 6. Let's create a branch with a number 6, issue 6. So it will happen, it will be helpful to the owner or the mentor for you will find it easy to know that this the pull request we will do later has been for the solving this issue number 6. Okay, let's create from the Git bash only. I will clear the console here. Okay. For creating the branch, let's move. As you see, we are in the main folder, like here. See, this I do this mistake very often, and I think that all will do this mistake. So I'm just telling that we are in the main folder, this folder. But I want to. Okay, sorry, I really made this mistake. I'm happy that I made this mistake. I will correct it. You see that I have initialized Git in this folder, in the main folder, but I want to initialize. I wanted to initialize Git in this folder where I cloned the repository. So if you did do this mistake, like initializing Git in somewhere else, just write this command rm -rf and .git. What it will do, it will just delete the Git which you initialized. I did this mistake, so I am doing this. You need not to do this, but if you do this same mistake, then you can do this. Okay, as you can see, before there was a branch and now there is not, because the Git which was initialized before has been deleted. So I want to correct the mistake, and I want to initialize the Git in this folder, not in the main folder where this is contained. So let's just move to that folder. The folder is this folder. Okay, now I am in this folder, and Git has been initialized successfully in this. I'm in the main. Okay, so let's come to now the second step, that is creating a branch. Now, to create a branch, as Piyush said, you can just give this command git checkout -b and the branch name. As I said, let's give the branch name our issue number, so that it will be helpful for the owner. Let's say it is issue number 6. Okay. Okay, now I am in the branch issue 6. You can also see here. That before it was main, and now it is issue 6, which shows that I'm in the issue 6 branch. And we have like successfully created our branch with the issue name. And now one of the another most important thing in our contribution is making our changes. Okay, so making changes means you are debugging the code, you are writing this. It may take some days to make the changes. Let's just say for the tutorial purpose, the issue was I wanted to add styling to this folder. Let's just create a new file in this new file. It will be styles. Okay, as you see, I have added new file, but it's written U inside because it is U means unidentified. I haven't added this in the Git, so it is unidentified. Let us first make the changes, and then I will add this in the Git. So I don't want to write the CSS in just 5 minutes. Let's just copy it from here. And to show the only working on the Git, not the CSS actually. Okay. So say that I have written all the CSS in this for this repository, and I think it will be. I have linked it. Link styles it, and it is styles. It is styles. Okay, it should be styles. Okay, no, it's correct. Okay, I have modified the index.html, so it is lighting am means modified, and U means unidentified. Let's add this to files. Let's first check, as Raj used to check git status, what it says. Okay, I have modified index.html, and styles.css is yet not tracked, so it is writing untracked. Okay, to add all these changes, I will just write git add dot to add all the changes, and I will press enter. It has been added, and if I write git status again to see, okay, it has been modified, and this is a new file. Okay, guys. Now we have completed these 3 steps, and also this step as we added like git add dot we are tracking the changes now in both CSS and HTML. So our all the 4 steps have been complete till tracking our changes. Our next step is commit. As Raj said, committing is like a checkpoint in a game. So, and if you remember the command, is the simple command git commit dash am for message, and write the proper message what you did in the issue. What I did in this change is that I added styling. So let me write the message for this commit, added styling. Okay, and if I press enter, okay, it has been successfully committed, and now you can see, if I close this, the symbols which were in the right side of this file are gone. Means it has been successfully tracked all the files, and it has been committed. So if I do git status again, status, it will say so working tree clean. Just we all the open source program, we just want to see this working tree clean. Now we have made our changes, we have tracked it, we have committed the changes, that is making our checkpoint. Now let's come to the last point, that is pushing the changes to the main repository. Okay, is also like all the steps is also just one command for git only. As I have committed everything, let's just give the command for the last step, that is git push origin. Sorry. Okay. Dash U is a flag for it was a flag for means to give to push the all the changes as well as the branch to the main repository. So the command is git push dash U origin and the branch in which you are. I am in the branch issue 6, so I will write git push dash U origin issue 6. This is last is the branch name in which branch you want to push to the main repository. So it is the last command, git push dash U origin issue 6. It will push the changes to the main repository. Let's just run it. Okay. Branch issue 6 is set up to track remote branch issue 6 from origin. Okay. So we are in the last step, and as we move to our repository, to my repository actually, we can move to our repository. Let's move. Where is my repository? Okay, this is my repository, and if I refresh this, okay, you can see that as I pushed it from my local machine in the Git, as it was linked. So you can see in the GitHub in the repository where you fork the repository from the main repository that it has been it is saying compare and pull request. Okay, it means that you have pushed the changes to the code, but you haven't sent a request to merge the changes, to add the changes in the project to Salad, to whom the main repository belongs. Okay, for the last step, let's create the pull request. Okay, you can see from this line that I want to merge my repository and this branch issue 6 to Salad repository and branch main. Okay, this means we want to merge this thing into this thing. Okay, again, as we made issues like giving the title and leaving a comment should be explanatory. In the pull request also, we have to explain whatever we did in the change. Like the issue, we explained why we want this change, why we want to add this file, why we want to do this. In this pushing, while giving a pull request, you also have to do the same, but in a different way, like how you did the change, what is the change that have happened before your pull request and after your pull request. So let's give the title edit styling. Okay, and in the comment you can write everything what you did. I added styles.css. I frequently do mistakes. I also linked the CSS file in index.html. Can write every comment, whatever you want to explain in the pull request to solve the issue. You can explain this here. You can also add a screenshot of if it is a like if it is a visual change, like in the index.html we change the styling, so now it looks like this. Let me show you in the browser again. Okay, before it was only HTML file, and after I added the styling, it looks like this. What you can do in the pull request is you can also attach a screenshot of this, what the change you have made in that pull request here. Let me show here. Here, let's say I'm not adding this for the time doesn't permit here me. Okay, but for adding for a great pull request, also always have something the explanation in the comment and some screenshot, like if you are making the project responsive again, then you will add the photos of first the desktop view, then the tablet view, and then mobile view. Everything you can add in this screenshot is if there is a visual change. Okay. In my case, I have added the styling, have the comment. I don't want to add screenshots. Okay, let me just create the pull request. Okay, that was the last step. We have successfully initialized repository, created a branch, made our changes by adding our CSS files. We tracked our changes, then commit, and we pushed it. And finally, it has been pushed, and And if the repository is active and really the owner wants to merge, is happy with the change you made, then he will merge it. Once you give a pull request, it's open to merge. It's upon the owner if he thinks that the code is working and he wants it is okay. It's nice for visual everything. This file, he will try this in his local machine. If he thinks the code is good and the contribution is good, he will merge it. And finally, you have successfully contributed to this repository which belongs to Salad and the repository this. Okay, and there's the last step. And we have successfully contributed to our to a repository of our interest. let's see. These are the main commands I used in the contribution part. First was a clone for cloning the repository to the local machine, initializing Git for, using Git init. To create a branch and to check out the branch, I used this Git checkout -b and the branch name. Branch name was the issue name, issue number, if you remember. And for tracking the changes, I did Git add dot. For committing the changes, I did Git commit -m for message and message what you are doing the commit. And lastly, the last command was Git push -u origin and the branch name. Okay. So you can take a screenshot of these commands if you want to. Let's as we have finished understood how to make successful contributions and also visualize the branches and heads, let's just move to Raj, who will explain you about Hacktoberfest and how and everything about it. Let's just move to Raj now. I welcome you, Raj, for the next part.
So thank you, sir, for that wonderful part. Now I'm going to be sharing my screen with you all. I hope it's visible.
Yeah, it is visible.
So yeah, we have come to the end of our session, and we're now gonna talk about some Hacktoberfest. What is it, and how can you start contributing? You can start your open source journey through Hacktoberfest. So basically, Hacktoberfest is just an event sponsored by DigitalOcean, where developers are encouraged to contribute to open source projects and repositories and start their open source journey. Basically, if you go to GitHub and if you type Hacktober, you see all these repositories right here. These are all Hacktoberfest repositories. So you can just click on one of these, and you can sort of explain. You can just fork it, load it on your system, and just start working on it if you have interest. So yeah, this is all about Hacktoberfest. If you want to kickstart your journey in open source, all you have to do is find your repository of interest and start contributing right now. So that is it for this session, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be having more sessions like that in the future. So I'll see you in the next session. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, one last thing, you can register for Hacktoberfest at the link provided in the chat. Register and kickstart your open source journey. Do we have to do Git and Github?
Every time a new project is basically no. If you have uploaded a particular project from a repository, you don't have to Git in it. You just have to move to that folder, and it's already initialized. Not every time.
But there's no problem if you get in it again. I mean, if it is initialized, but if you do get in it again, there's no problem. It will just show that it has been already initialized, so there will be no problem. Okay.
Yeah, as I said, you can just check the status of the commits using git status simple command. So yeah. Any more questions?
You can also shoot over your questions at the Discord server provided in the mail, or I'll be providing the link here also if you have any further doubts or questions.
Yeah, you can just hop into the server and tag someone in the channel. Anyone can help you understanding if you still have doubts. So I guess we have come to the end of the session. If you have any questions, please do ask him, as we still have some time left.
having Git in the system is really important. So we recommend that install it, and if there is any doubt in the installation of Git, please ask in the solve server. We are here to solve that, and try out all the repos in the Hacktoberfest, and anything if you are interested in some technology or some framework, just go with the repo and just give a pull request, nice pull request, as I explained.
Yes. Also,
Make sure to
for
create
like general
user space.
practice, whatever projects you work on locally or personally, make sure it's a good practice to push them to your GitHub profile. Make your profile active and also attractive.
So any more questions regarding anything Git, open source, or how to register? I guess we're
Yes,
done
there are
here.
no more questions. So we can conclude here. Thanks everyone for joining for the session.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and
Bye.
I hope you all will start.
Yes.
इसका recording मिल जाएगा ना?
Yeah, sure.
We'll send the recording along with a cheat sheet containing all the commands and short tricks for Git and GitHub.
Thank you.